All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for waiting, and thank you for joining us today for our first ever virtual webinar. I'm Bethany Howell. I'm the Outreach Director for CDA, and I just wanted to say that this is a new format for us, so we'll go through some housekeeping first, and then we'll get right into the webinar itself. This is the last public webinar for 2024. We have done 3 other webinars public forums across the state in person before other Ag Commission meetings. We've been able to talk about our programs, introduce CDA staff, and introduce Ag Commission members who you'll see on your screen. So we're glad to be able to offer this final forum in a virtual format so that we can talk to those of you whose regions we haven't been able to visit yet. But hopefully next year we will have more of these types of interactions and we'll be able to meet some of you in person in the future. So for this virtual format, I'm going to put the agenda link in the chat and you can follow along. We're going to start with our cameras on, and then some of us may turn our cameras off depending on who is speaking. We're also going to put links to different programs, to the Ag Commission members' bios into the chat, so please keep an eye on that. And then when we move into the question and answer section, you can put your questions down below. There's a Zoom feature that says Q&A. So if you weren't able to pre-submit a question, you can still, if something comes up that you would like to ask about in the course of this discussion, please feel free to drop it down there and we will get to that. So now I'm going to turn it over to Colleen Pepler, who is the chairperson of our Ag Commission.
Good afternoon and welcome. We're glad to have you here, and it's a good test. It's a test drive for all of us on doing this virtual forum. So bear with us as we muddle through some of the issues and everything that goes along. But I think you're going to learn a lot of great information in the next hour. I do have one housekeeping. I am going to ask that we do have an interpreter, and if they would please give us the information that we need to know.
I don't think we're able to hear our interpreter right now, but Sonia, do you want to hop in really quick and let us know what people can expect from the interpreter?
Hello everybody, ¿cómo están? Buenos días. Esta mañana vamos a hacer este foro público para todos los que estén interesados y si ocupan el idioma en español, por favor busquen el botón en donde están las opciones para los idiomas, seleccione el español y Nora Gómez se encargará de traducir toda la junta. Si tienen cualquier pregunta, van a ver, creo que tienen una opción en el chat de mandar sus preguntas y entre Nora y yo nos encargamos de que se produzcan bien o que se anuncien bien las preguntas y ojalá les podamos contestar bien. Si tienen cualquier problema, también pongan sus problemas o en el chat y también estaremos atentos, ¿ok?
Great. Okay, thank you, Sonia. Are we good to go? All right. Well, thank you for that. And if there's any questions, you can also put that in the chat for interpretation. Like I said, good afternoon. My name is, what we're going to have the opportunity today is to meet the Ag Commission members that were able to join us and other staff members of CDA. And then Commissioner Greenberg is going to give us some highlights on different programs and funding opportunities. And then we'll have an opportunity for question and answers. So we have a lot jam-packed into this hour forum. And we're, like I said, once again, we're really happy you're here. As Bethany mentioned, I am Colleen Pepler, and I am currently serving as the chair for the Ag Commission, proudly. And a little bit about myself, I was born and raised in northeastern Colorado in Washington County, and my grandparents and parents were dryland wheat farmers and also raised Angus and Hereford cattle, had cattle operation. My nephews and my sisters continue the generational farming out there, and which was established by past generations of my families. Kent and I, my husband and I, own Pepler Farms, which is about an hour north of Denver in the Meade community. And we farm irrigated farming, and we grow wheat, corn, and alfalfa hay. And our partners are our children. Ashley and her husband Sam live in the Des Moines area, and they are both attorneys. And our son Tyson and his fiance Lauren live in Denver, and they both work in the financial areas at Denver Health and UC Health. I'm a retired educator and administrator from mostly the St. Vrain Valley School District. And right now I am the bookkeeper for Pepler Farms. I think my interest and my strongest area in serving on the Ag Commission is not only with the agricultural community, but because of my educational background, I enjoy and make it my push to continue to educate the consumer and the public about the many aspects of agriculture and the ever-developing technologies and discoveries to continue positive and safe food production. So that gives you a little bit about myself. I'm going to switch over and ask Nick Trainer to introduce himself.
Thanks, Colleen. I'm Nick Trainer. I've been on the Ag Commission board for almost 2 years now, I believe. I am a cattle rancher in Arapahoe County and also involved with our family operation in southeastern Colorado in Crowley County. I live here south of Watkins with my family and have been ranching here for about 10 years. Prior to becoming a full-time rancher, cattle rancher, I worked for the NRCS as a range management specialist, and really that's kind of where my deep passion for conservation and soil health and sustainable beef production came from. I guess really that's about it. I'd encourage any of you to reach out to us, and I think that grassroots feedback is really what we're here for. So looking forward to hearing any issues that you've got in agriculture around the state.
Great, thank you, Nick. Another Ag Commission member joining us is Jeffrey McCullough. So Jeff, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. My name is Jeff McCullough. I live down in San Luis Valley. Monte Vista is my hometown. I am primarily a potato grower down here in the valley. We do center pivot irrigation potatoes. We farm about 1,600 acres of potatoes, and then the other half of our farm is in cover crop of some kind or another. We do rye, green manure mixes, for the is what we put. Have a
Jeff, we're struggling to hear you a bit.
We package about 60% of our own potatoes, and then 40% are local farmers here in the valley that we package their potatoes and ship them off. We're all table stock potatoes. Oh, let me get a little closer or talk a little bit louder. Yeah, so half now. And they are a very diverse, very well-educated, very just great group of people that are really focused on outreach and really getting to know the people that they're representing on the commission. So yeah, it's just been a lot of fun being a part of this commission and being just involved in the ag community around the state. So, but like Nick said, if anybody has any questions or anything, just please reach out to one of us, and we'd be more than happy to help you.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Bethany, if I'm not correct, I'm not seeing any other commission members on the screen, but I would like to make you all aware of the other ones who served with us. Oh, wait, we do have one just joining us. So I'm going to give Elena 1 second to breathe. And then as I'm talking, Elena, what we're doing is introducing ourselves as commission members. And if you are ready, we'd like to have you introduce yourself and share us a little bit about where you live and what you do.
Hey, thank you, Colleen. Sorry, I have a beeping car over here. I was trying to figure out how to make it stop beeping at me. Yeah, my name's, oh, 1 second. Sorry, I have a crying kid over here. Anyway, my name's Elena Miller. I'm from the southern part of San Luis Valley. I raise sheep and organic hay using the old Spanish acequia system. And it's a family farm, so I've got my little daughter here with me today. And yeah, that's a little bit about me, and happy to serve on the Ag Commission. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Elena. David Block is another member of ours on the Ag Commission. As you see, Bethany is pulled up onto the screen. David is from District 2. He lives out in the Yuma area, where him and his family are very much also generational, own and operate a lot of the block farms all of the block farms out there. Very diverse with how involved their family is. With all the different generations with cattle and crops. Another member that is on there, there we go, is Catherine Bedell. She's a District 4 at large, and she's over in the Grand Junction area. She is a veterinarian, and she is very heavily involved in her community with all different projects over there, ranging from production to the farm to table, and she's just really involved in a lot of things that are going on over there. Let's see. Simon Martinez, he's in District 4. He's the construction superintendent at Mountain Ute Tribal Farm and Ranch Enterprise, and he is now their general manager and is involved very heavily with all those projects over there, especially the general manager for Bow and Arrow brand and the Bow and Arrow brand LLC, which is a mills and packages projects, and they're non-GMO project. They're verified, they're gluten-free, and they're kosher certified. So you can see a little bit about Simon's business and his involvement. Roberta Meza is in District 4. He is a first-generation farmer, and he's a local food advocate. He is involved with the co-founder of Emerald Gardens and has a year-round greenhouse farm in Bennett, and also is the CEO of East Denver Food Hub. Elena, you met Jeff and Elena. And Harrison Top. Harrison is in District 4, and he's the manager and owner of Top's Fruits LLC. And it's a family orchard business growing high altitude and pleasurable fruit in western Colorado. You can see him and his family and his operations a lot during the summer, ranging from farmers markets to county fairs. And he serves on a lot of different organizations and gets out in the community and is a well representation of the commission as well. Did I get them all, Bethany? Okay, great. That's nothing like flying by the seat of your pants introducing everybody, but please visit their sites. If you don't know them and you haven't met them in your area, please reach out to them because they are all anxious to meet you and hear your comments and your concerns. I think what I'd like to do next is introduce the CDA staff, and I'm not doing this as an insult, but Kate, I'm going to save you to last because you're going to go into the next portion of the conversation. So I'm going to start, and it's kind of like playing the Brady Bunch. I'm just going to go by the screen of who I see, so don't think I'm picking on you. But Joe, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Colleen. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Stafford, and I am the Director for the Division of Animal Welfare here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. I have lived in Colorado since about 1990. I have about 23 years of animal welfare experience, kind of running the gamut, but mostly specializing in companion animals and also a lot of equine work. I joined the CDA just at the end of August as the first ever director for this new division, which was created by House Bill 1458, which was signed by the governor on May 30th of this year, creating the 9th division. And we really focus on animal welfare in two primary programs. First, our Pet Animal Care and Facilities Act, which licenses and inspects over 2,500 different businesses around Colorado, primarily dealing with companion animals, and then also lead the Bureau of Animal Protection team, which conducts investigations about animal maltreatment all around the state, do a lot of work out in the rural communities where they don't have local resources. And that team just recently expanded in the short period of time that I've been here. We've hired 3 new members of that team, which was authorized by the bill passed earlier this year. And I am very happy to answer any questions you might have of me later on in the program, and very much would look forward to you reaching out if you have any issues in your community or just general questions. So thank you, Colleen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to introduce Jordan Beasley.
Thank you, Colleen, and thanks everybody for joining us this afternoon. My name is Jordan Beasley. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of External Affairs here at CDA. In my role, I oversee our state and federal policy and legislative activities, as well as the strategic budget direction for the department. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Jordan. Olga, please.
Thanks, Colleen. Hi, everyone. My name's Olga Roback. I am the Communications Director for the Department of Agriculture, and I work a lot with the media and on our external and internal messaging. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Wandra.
Thank you, Colleen. Good afternoon. My name is Wandra Gabru. I'm a Division Director for Plant Industry, and then I've been with the department for the last close to 6 years now. It will be in January. And the Division of Plant Industry regulates seed, nursery, plant health, and then directly also collaborate with USDA APHIS and plant protection quarantine and safeguarding state resources from invasive pest and disease, and also regulate organic and hemp program. And there's other program that the division is also directly involved with is in the pesticide regulation, the pesticide product registrations, certification, and then also enforcing violation or misuse of pesticides. And that's all I have. Thank you. Back to you, Colleen.
Perfect. Thank you. Rita, can you please introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. Rita DeFranch. I am from the Office of Information Technology, and I am the IT director that supports all the initiatives that our CDA folks push forward in support of the Coloradans here in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark.
Yes, thank you, Colleen. Yeah, my name is Mark Gallegos. I'm the Division Director for our Inspection and Consumer Services Division. Within our division, we have 12 different programs, most of them regulatory in nature. They vary from the Agricultural Worker Services Program, anhydrous ammonia feed and fertilizer, including produce safety and eggs. In addition to that, we also regulate weights and measures, which are the scales that many people are familiar with in their day-to-day lives. With that being said, more than happy to answer any questions you may have, and thank you for the opportunity to meet you all. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you, Mark. Amara.
Hello, my name's Amara Mora, and I am the Executive Assistant to Commissioner Kate Greenberg with the Department of Agriculture, and I will also be working very closely. I'm fairly new to my role, but working closely with the Ag Commission and leading the Ag Commission board meetings, helping coordinate those. So very nice to meet you all and look forward to meeting some in person tomorrow.
Thank you, Amara. Amanda?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Laban,
and I am the Markets Division Director here at CDA. The Markets Division, the focus is really to increase marketing and processing opportunities for Colorado producers. And within our program, we house about 10 different programs. Our program menu has been growing over the past couple of years, but we do everything from Colorado Proud to Climate Smart marketing to specialty crop, international, our wine board, and our food access program are all housed within markets. And I will probably be sharing some links about some of our grant programs as we continue on today. But nice to be here and look forward to Q&A later this morning.
Thank you, Amanda. Nick Purchase.
Hey, Nick, I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, Nick. There we go.
Ta-da! Okay. My name is Nick Purchase. I'm the Southeast Regional Assistant to Southeast Regional Assistant to the Commissioner of Agriculture. I steward 45 acres in Avondale, Colorado, located in Pueblo County. I am a first-generation farm and ranch owner, headed into my 11th season. Most of our farming operation has been built off of the direct-to-consumer market. We run a raw milk dairy servicing 150 families in 4 counties. And then we also do poultry production, and we have a 60 head hog operation and a very large cherry orchard. I am also the Vice President of Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, the newly hired General Manager for Valley Roots Food Hub. And I sit on 7 different state and local agricultural boards, 3 of which are tri-state, covering New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Nick. Riley May, can you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Riley.
Yeah, yes, we can. Thank you.
My pleasure to be here this afternoon. I am also a regional assistant to the commissioner. I represent pretty much the Eastern Plains. I won't claim the Southeast since Nick already did that, I guess. But I farm and ranch with my family on the Eastern Plains, right out near Lamar. I'm more than happy to be on. If anyone has any questions, you have my contact info, and I'll be on the call as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nick. Joe Stanko.
Oh, there we go. Hi, my name's Joe Stanko. I'm the Northwest Colorado Regional Assistant Commissioner. We're located out of Routt County. Our family's been here since 1907. Basically started out as a subsistence ranch, but basically now we're cow-calf like most of everyone else around us. I've retired as teacher for 30 years with degrees in taught kindergarten through college, teacher recertification credits. I've been around around Colorado and Colorado agriculture pretty heavily since 1974. I'm a generalist, which means that I have a little knowledge about a lot of things, nothing that I'm really smart and focused on. My job is to share that generalist information on both sides of the communication, from the department to the producers and from the producers to the department. And the only thing that makes me anywhere near successful at this is that I know a lot of very smart people that will talk to me. So that's mine.
Joe, thank you. So hopefully everyone will take an opportunity to look at all the different websites that have been posted on the chat, so you can learn more about the different divisions, and you can learn more about the other commission members who were unable to be here today. I'm going to do a quick scan here to make sure that I've had everyone introduced, and we have. So it's my pleasure to introduce our Colorado Ag Commission, Kate Greenberg.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Chair Pepler, Colleen. It's a real pleasure being on this public forum with you all, both Ag Commission members, our staff from CDA, and of course, everyone listening in, whether live or this will be up on our website as a recorded video for folks to revisit in the future. So I want to start with just a kind of a general overview of who we are at CDA, what we do, and then get into some of the nitty-gritty strategic objectives we have that hopefully you'll find resonate with your interests or your business, the work that you do out across the state. So you've heard from members of our Ag Commission. So our Agricultural Commission is our 9-member farmer and rancher board appointed by the governor to really help oversee the business of the department. Those 9 members, many of whom you heard from today, I rely on as some of my core advisors, and they're really thinking alongside with us, are we going in the right direction as an agency to meet our mission and to serve all of the people in Colorado whom we serve? Now our mission is threefold, and it really does guide so much of the work we do at the Department of Ag. The first part of our mission is to advance Colorado agriculture. The second part is to protect consumers and ensure a safe and healthy food supply. And the third is to foster stewardship of the environment and natural world. So you think about how are we advancing agriculture, protecting consumers, and fostering stewardship. What I'm going to talk about really ties in with those three in all sorts of ways. Now, you also just heard from members of our senior team at the Department of Ag. As was mentioned, we have 9 programmatic divisions, our newest one being the Division of Animal Welfare. And our divisions range from everything from animal health and animal welfare to our brand inspection division, our conservation, inspection and consumer services. We have a labs division that has our 3 laboratories. We also have the state fair underneath us, as well as markets, plants, and I think I hit everyone, but that's really the runs the gamut. You think about food you eat or buy at the grocery store. You think about the scales you use to check out at the grocery store. You think about the landscape that we so enjoy here in Colorado. So much of that work comes back to what we are able and privileged to do here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. Now, you also met 3 out of our 4 regional assistant commissioners. So just a couple years ago, we created some new positions to expand roles within the department for working farmers and ranchers. So our RACs live and work on their farm and ranch. They work for CDA about 5 or 10 hours a week. And as Joe was mentioning, represent CDA in the field and represent their communities with CDA. So that has been another really invaluable group of folks who are informing how we do our work at the department. We're headquartered in Broomfield. That's where many of us are today, but many of us are out across the state. So our regional assistant commissioners in the 4 corners of the state, our Ag Commission members are around the state, and we also have CDA staff who live and work in communities that we serve statewide. And that's a really important thing for us at CDA. That we make sure our work makes sense to those on the ground who we're serving, and that we get that feedback. How is it going? What can be better? And is the work we're doing really meeting the needs on the ground? So when it comes to kind of that big mission I talked about, advancing agriculture, protecting consumers and the food supply, and fostering stewardship of the natural world, I want to talk about 4 main areas of work that we've really been building these last 5 years, and that we're going to keep building on in the years to come. And all of these you can find on our website. I think Bethany is showing you some of our website features, which is really helpful to help navigate. A lot of our work lives on our internet page, but part of today's public forum is to show you that when you engage with the Department of Agriculture, you are engaging with real people who are very committed to the work that they do in support of agriculture in our ag and rural communities. So those 4 areas I want to talk about. Let's start with expanding market access. So of course, we know in ag, if you can't make a living, then talking about all the other work that we're doing doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we have to focus on how do we expand market access, both in our local and regional food systems, as well as in our international partnerships, so that more of our Colorado ag businesses of all scales, small, medium, large, have access to markets that help them make a living in agriculture. Some ways that we're doing this, Amanda mentioned our Colorado Proud program. So hopefully you've all seen the Colorado Proud brand. That's a brand that lives in everywhere from farmers markets to grocery stores, on packaging, and it helps identify to consumers that they're supporting a Colorado food or farm business. We also have an international marketing program. We take Colorado companies abroad and help them expand their business overseas. In addition to that, we've in the last few years been making a number of investments into our regional food systems. We actually restructured part of our markets division to be a food systems focused area. And we're investing lots of money, pretty much all federal at this point, taking a lot of advantage of the federal money that's out there into regional infrastructure. So regional processing, because we know to access markets, you need to have the processing and the supply chain to help producers access those markets that make the most sense for them. So those are a few examples. Lastly, on the markets front, this ties into our second sort of big objective, which is around stewardship. We've actually launched a climate smart marketing branch. We have folks on board who can help producers and Colorado businesses expand into new markets that are actually valuing their stewardship around climate change and climate resilience. And this is a really neat opportunity as we see corporate entities across the globe establishing standards for their supply chains around carbon sequestration, climate mitigation, all sorts of climate strategies. We want Colorado to be the place that they do business in agriculture. And we're setting up that landscape primarily through incentivized tools, technical assistance, grants, equipment grants, networking support, farmer to farmer, rancher to rancher, what works, what doesn't, really trying to apply this work on the ground and then bring that to the marketplace as a value add for our producers. So when we're talking about stewardship, I mentioned, of course, Climate Smart, that's driving a lot of the work, not just in our markets team, but in our conservation group as well. In the last few years, some of you have likely, hopefully, been a part of our growing soil health program. So just a few years ago, we launched the Colorado Soil Health Program, and you'll see here on your screen a list of a lot of the conservation work that we're doing. The Colorado Soil Health Program was really grassroots, began many years ago, but really in earnest in 2019. We launched this program administratively, so it means we didn't go to the legislature initially. We worked with farmers and ranchers on what kind of work they needed and support they needed from CDA to advance their work in soil health. In 2021, the legislature passed a bill authorizing this program officially, and we've been working at CDA to gather resources, staff, money in particular, and of course expertise along with them to support our producers across the state in advancing soil health practices. And it's really key to this program, and this is an example of how we're growing across our program areas, is that this program was built from the ground up. We have been constantly hearing from producers what's working, what can we do better, and then iterating the program as we go. And that's, as you'll see in our structure with our regional assistant commissioners, our ag commission, we value so much having folks who live and embody this work every day, shape the work we're doing at the department. So the second category, advancing stewardship, soil, water, climate. We also have a very strong renewable energy program called Acre 3. We're actually right now really focused on agrivoltaics. So how do we integrate renewable energy with agricultural production? And then there's water. And this is a really big area for CDA. Historically, we've been very limited in our ability to represent agriculture on issues of water. As of just last year, we've hired our first ever ag water policy advisor, Robert Cicada, who's a lifelong farmer from Brighton, Colorado. And now Robert is able to represent CDA at the water table, essentially, whether that's basin roundtable meetings, statewide policy work, interstate work, really giving agriculture a very strong voice in this work on water, both, of course, how we utilize water as a state and a region, and what ag is and can be doing to advance our water conservation across the state. So a lot of work happening there to advance the water plan as well. So two more areas I want to talk about. The third is supporting the next generation in agriculture. This is, I think, a topic near and dear to a lot of us. My former job was working with the National Young Farmers Coalition, helping young people gain access to land and capital and working with lawmakers to do that. We work with folks who are 5th, 6th, 7th generation, or even more than that, thinking about succession. How do I hand my land and business down through the generations? We have 1st generation farmers, even 1st generation Americans who are investing their life in agriculture here. There is room for all of these folks, no matter your background. And so a lot of what we're building at CDA are resources and sort of pathways for people, no matter where you start, to get involved in agriculture and stay involved in agriculture. So what you'll see here is an example, our Next Gen Ag Leadership Program. We are very committed to investing in young leaders. So this is a grant opportunity for organizations that serve young and beginning farmers, youth in agriculture, young people at any point in their career looking to gain leadership skills. We also have a paid internship program called the Ag Workforce Development Program, and actually applications for interns are opening soon. Thank you, Amanda, in the chat. So essentially we pair interns with businesses. The business receives some overhead, the intern receives wages from this program, and the intern gets up to a season or up to a year at this point experience on a working farm or ranch. And that's actually how I got started farming, was through a paid internship as well. In addition to that, we're really thinking about this pipeline of growth, leadership development, entry-level internship support, all the way up through early career development. So we actually have, just as of last year, a revolving loan fund. Right now it's a wait list only, but I want you all to at least know it exists for future consideration. It's a revolving loan fund primarily for beginning farmers and primarily first-time borrowers to be able to access very affordable, flexible terms, lending opportunities with our partner bank, which is First Southwest Bank. Again, we've got a great team of a couple people running this program who would love to talk to you about eligibility. And we're really, again, focused on that #1 barrier for young and beginning farmers, which is access to land. And #2 being access to capital and credit. So this is a program that's really trying to target those key barriers. And then lastly, in our 4 kind of major strategic initiatives is animal health and welfare. You've heard from our Director of Animal Welfare. We also have an animal health division. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing to reduce conflicts with predators on the landscape that ties into this work. So our animal health division is run by our state veterinarian, Dr. Maggie Baldwin. Dr. Baldwin is responsible for managing and mitigating all foreign animal disease impacts to Colorado's flocks and herds. So with this recent outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza, that's our state veterinarian at the helm. We do a lot of tabletop exercises, preparation with livestock industry, livestock producers, to really make sure that we are as prepared as possible for disease and mitigating and minimizing spread. In addition to that, our animal health division also houses our emergency management team. It's a team of 2. If anybody is listening in from Southern Colorado or even part of the Eastern Plains where you just had a pretty big storm, we were both on the ground and in the State Emergency Operations Center working with our partners at Public Safety, at CDOT, to clear roads, to help gain access to livestock on non-state roads, like county roads, working with county commissioners. So I want you to know that CDA, this is also new for us. We now have the capacity to work with ag communities in advance of emergencies, through emergency response, and through the recovery period, which is the period we're in now for this latest storm. Dan Frazen is our ag emergency coordinator, and he is a great contact to have. Bethany, thank you for putting that information in the chat. So those are the four main areas of our strategic work. There's so much work we do day to day, like I mentioned, and Mark mentioned, our scales, making sure consumers are getting what they're paying for, making sure our livestock are moving well and are being kept safe and healthy. So much of that. And then we also have this opportunity to think strategically about how to make investments for the 21st century for agriculture to be as successful as possible at all scales, for us to integrate stewardship with production, and to make sure there's a place for everyone, no matter where they're coming from, no matter their starting point, to be a part of Colorado agriculture. So that is the overview. I will pause there. There's plenty of information. I don't expect everyone to absorb it all, but we want to help you navigate what the department looks like, who the people are, and happy to open up for any questions or conversations that we might have here right now. So Bethany, I'll hand it back over to you.
Great, thank you, Kate. And you can we can navigate through some of the questions. It looks like there was a hand raised, and so I missed who it was because I was on another show. Oh, it looks like Laurel Hamlin has her hand raised. Laurel, are you able to speak and ask your question, or do you need to put it in the chat? It looks like you're off mute now, so. We are not able to hear you if you are asking a question. While we're kind of figuring out the question thing really quick, and Laurel, please feel free to either to put it in the Q&A section if you're not able to speak. But we do have Andrea back on, Kate, if you want to introduce her really quickly. She wasn't able to be on earlier.
Super. So I mentioned just a few minutes ago that one of our divisions is the State Fair. And we have our new general manager for the Colorado State Fair, Andrea Wiesenmeyer, with us. Andrea, are you able to come off mute and give a brief introduction?
Good morning. I am, although I'm having trouble putting video on. I had some trouble hopping on and now having trouble getting video on. So I apologize that you're not getting to see me in person. But I am Andrea Wiesenmeyer, and I am the new manager of the Colorado State Fair. I'm very excited to be here and be part of CDA. I come from an ag family and still have family that farms in Northwest Iowa. And I additionally have been part of the fair industry for about 10 years. Love what I do, very passionate about what I do, and really excited to be able to do it here in Colorado with the great partners that we have here.
Thanks so much for joining, Andrea. Bethany, any other questions queued up on your end?
I have not seen any more in the Q&A section, but we did have a pre-submitted question that came in earlier. And I know you spoke a little bit about emergency response, Kate, but do you want to speak in more detail about the work that Dan Frazen and his team did just over the past week?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, emergency response is something that CDA has always done, but we have never, up until about 2 years ago, had a full-time dedicated person to that response. So we were limited in what we could do. So now with having Dan Frazen on board, and now a second person, Jerry Casebolt, who's actually located in Southern Colorado, we can do so much more with their dedicated time to this work. So I mentioned kind of those multiple stages of emergency response, the planning and preparation, the response itself, and then the recovery time. We're now able to be a part of each of those. So we've been working with ag communities on all sorts of planning exercises. I mentioned foreign animal disease. We're doing all sorts of emergency training with local emergency leads at the county level, as well as with agricultural producers. When an event like the storm that hit Southern Colorado happens, we are often activated as part of the State Emergency Operations Center. And that's where all of the relevant state agencies come together to coordinate emergency response. There are times when CDA might be the lead agency, like on foreign animal disease outbreak, and most of the time will be a supporting agency. So this past storm, we were in a support role, which meant that Dan Frazen and Jerry were integrated into the statewide planning effort, making sure that the ag needs were presented to the state level, and that anything we were hearing that needed to go to the state would get to our state partners, and anything that needed to get to our local partners would get to the local partners. So we were part of this really important communications cycle that ideally reduces the response time it takes for people on the ground to get the support they need. A lot of the support we were hearing from producers was, this storm, I can't get to my cattle. A lot of cattle are drifted in. This is a common challenge that we see in these storms. So we were helping deploy resources to those specific producers to help them gain access to their cattle and then be able to deliver feed and water. Now that the storm is done, a lot of that emergent response has been completed. We're now in recovery. For this particular event, for a lot of producers, that means financial recovery. How can you make sure you're assessing your losses and getting compensation where you're eligible? So we are really helping direct our producers in Southern Colorado and parts of the Eastern Plains to the Farm Services Agency, or FSA. FSA is the agency, and this is a federal agency. They are the agency that does the loss assessment during and after a crisis. So it's really important for producers to know your county or local FSA agent. And if you're having trouble navigating the system, you can always call CDA and we will do our best to assist you. But just know that that's the realm of the FSA, is to really help on that recovery and the recovery programs. Bethany, do you think that answered the question?
Yes, thank you, Kate. I think that does give a good overview of where we sit when we're in emergency situations. And I would just add that we leaned really heavily on partners on the ground with the local county emergency management teams and CSU Extension. And that often is the case, is that while we are the big state agency, it's the people who are part of the communities who are doing the really hard work of getting things done.
Yeah, great point, Bethany. And it's for any of you who follow us on social media or get our newsletters, Bethany and Olga and Sonia are the team behind all of that. So our communications team is also a huge piece of emergency response and communicating out what you all need to know.
We still do not have any questions right now, but Kate, I wondered if you might reference some of the open funding opportunities that we have right now, particularly in animal health. And then I can share my screen again and show people where those are.
Fantastic. Well, I'll definitely start with animal health. I mentioned earlier, I would talk a little bit about our work in conflict reduction with predators on the landscape. In particular, CDA is now very much engaged around wolf reintroduction. For those of you unfamiliar, about 4 years ago now, the Colorado voters voted to reintroduce wolves into Colorado. That work began immediately after the vote, and the first round of wolves were reintroduced in December of last year. So we now have wolves on the ground that have been reintroduced, and CDA's role is really to walk alongside our ag and livestock communities in implementing coexistence tools, non-lethal coexistence tools. Bethany's pulled up the page where you can find a lot of the resources. So this is primarily for livestock producers on the Western Slope, but it's really for anyone statewide who's interested in this work. So a number of things we're doing here, and I'll mention the grant opportunity. We're building a range rider program. We've actually just hired 2 staff who are going to be out on the range, out on in the field, whether it's on permitted ground or working with private landowners on their home place, to help them implement these non-lethal tools. And that's all sorts of tools that you can apply to the landscape. Human presence with specific tool set and training is really key. And we have alongside this a grant opportunity for communities in wolf country to be able to apply to grants for up to $20,000 to implement this work. So again, this is really targeted to where there are currently wolves and where there may be wolves in the near future. But just know that's a pretty loose definition. We really want these dollars to be out on the ground supporting our livestock communities in adapting to the presence of a new predator. So that's one. And again, this page that Bethany has up, the non-lethal wolf conflict reduction grant program, has the details that you need. We are really, really keen on reducing the administrative burden, while of course upholding our responsibilities as a steward of taxpayer dollars. We also know that making our administrative process and applications streamlined is really important to applicants' ability to get the money. So that's on the animal health side. Some other grants that we have underway, I mentioned agrivoltaics. This is a really great place to keep in touch with us. We now have an annual grant making cycle for agrivoltaic investments. I should mention it's a relatively new thing for CDA to be a grant making agency. We have not been able to do this kind of work up until the recovery money through COVID and the subsequent federal dollars that came since. Our state legislature has also really rallied behind agriculture, and the agrivoltaics grants is one great place that they've demonstrated that. So we're really excited about that ongoing work. Another couple places I want to mention, one of which is an open opportunity, and the other one is going to be open in a year. We actually have 2 new tax credits at the department. Again, very new work for us. The first is our community food access program. In the past year, we have now been able to make investments in family scale businesses in food insecure places across the state to help them do business to tackle some of the food insecurity. So whether that's a corner store that's expanding its cold storage to be able to buy more fresh produce, whether it's a small farmer who is able to expand their ability to sell direct to consumer, we've been able to provide grants to dozens and dozens of businesses across the state. We are now expanding that program. The grant cycle is completed, and we're now moving into a tax credit for these companies, for these businesses to be able to do the same kind of work. Amanda just put the link to the tax credit page in the chat. This is currently open, so I encourage you to check this out, see if you or maybe a business near you in your community might be eligible, and talk with our team, whether it's Mickey Davis who runs this program along with Adonai Cuevas, just great staff, people who can help answer your questions. The second tax credit, which is nascent and not yet underway, we are going to be writing the rules on this over the winter. And this is our Ag Stewardship Tax Credit. So I've been talking about soil health, climate resilience, water conservation. We are now going to be able to build a refundable tax credit for producers who are implementing essentially regenerative agricultural practices. Now, the total limit for this program is about $3 million, so not that much, but it's going to allow the state to show that we value the stewardship work of our producers, and we want to bring that back to the bottom line for producers who want to engage with this program. So again, incentive-based, voluntary programs that really focus on the bottom line. How do we make producers gain access to markets that help them stay solvent and stay healthy in business, and do that in a way that combines stewardship with production. So those are just a few of the resources we have available. Bethany, anything I missed that you want to be sure we touch on today?
I'll just say that there's a nifty little place on our website called CDA at a Glance. And if you haven't seen it before already, I'm just going to try to talk and navigate at the same time. But we try to put as many funding opportunities that are open as possible in that area. It also has programs that are available, some upcoming events. It has partner funding that we know of that's available. So if you're listening and you are a partner that has funding available, you can always contact our team. You can contact myself or Sonia Hawkes on our team to let us know, and we can help get that information out there. But the reason it's called At a Glance is because we know that a lot of these programs and funding opportunities can be overwhelming. And so it's easier to take in little bite-sized chunks, especially with what is available at the time, as some of these grants do close. And so we want to make sure that you can see at a glance what there is to be offered at CDA. So you can find that on our website. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't gone through our website already, there's obviously a lot in there. And I do want to highlight really quickly that when I was on the Wolf resources page, you might have seen that we have some workshops that are coming up in December in Gunnison and in Eagle County. So Kate, I don't know if you want to mention Dustin's work with CPW and what those workshops are all about.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bethany. So you'll find on our website a list to all of these workshops that Bethany mentioned as part of our non-lethal mitigation program. Really, how can we work toward coexistence with predators on the landscape? Our team is hosting community outreach events across the Western Slope. We have been for a number of months now. If you're on the Western Slope or even interested in traveling out there to understand more about what resources the state has, I encourage you to sign up. Wayne East and Dustin Shiflett are our amazing program team, really driving this work around wolves and a lot of other wildlife work that we're doing as well at the department. These are great workshops to learn kind of more of the hands-on skills. We're focused on doing site assessments for producers who are interested in doing those so they can really understand more of the applicability of the tools that we have available as an ag community for this work. So again, check that out on our website and always feel free to reach out to our staff as well.
Thanks, Kate. And I was going to say we have 5 more minutes. We have not yet had any open questions that I can see, but I wanted to give Colleen and or any of the other Ag Commission members or regional assistant commissioners, staff, anyone who feels that we have either missed something or there's something that you would like to make sure that you have communicated to the public before we sign off.
I would just like to let everybody know that tomorrow is our November commission meeting in person, and it will be at the department from 9 to 3. And you can either join us in person or virtually, and you can find the website for the virtual Zoom on the CDA website. So I'd encourage you to join us for part or all. And if you can come in person, that would be even great.
I would, oops, it's not turning off the camera. This is Joe Stanko. There we go. And I would like to encourage those of you either on the Western Slope or to attend either the range riding shops or the wolf predation workshops. They're different than what we've had before. Before we've had a lot of people telling us what they've done and what has happened in other states. And these are now what we have been finding so far that have worked, or having people come out that have actually had hands on the ground working. So I found them, as a producer, found them very, very useful. I know some people puff up when they start talking about, we're going to teach you about gentle handling or that's the basis of what we do, but this has the aspect of what you do. How do you actually get your cattle to bunch up at night? What do you actually do to make that heifer that always runs off the other direction and is crazy and wild? How do you train it to come back to the herd and to stay with the herd, which is where the safety is? So I'd really like to encourage as many producers as possible to go to it.
Well, I think we're at the top of the hour now. Colleen, Ag Commission members, CDA staff, thank you all for being on. As Chair Pepler just mentioned, we encourage those of you listening in to join our Ag Commission meetings, whether in person or virtual. All of the ad information is also on our website. And we look forward to continued engagement with you all across the state. Colleen, anything to add as we close?
I don't think so. Thank you all. And thank you all for joining us today.
Take care, everyone.